Good morning and welcome into the number one Group of Five college football show of all time. This is the Group of Five guys, and our mission is to be the voice for the Group of Five football programs, the voice that the mainstream sports media absolutely refuses to be. We need your help to do that. We need you to hit the follow button on all the social platforms at Group of Five guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your best podcasts. Subscribe to the Believe Network. Leave us a 5-star rating and a review. Most importantly, tell your family and friends all about us. On this Monday morning Labor Day episode, we got to recap week one, which was a wild week one, in particularly in Murfreesboro. Hope you enjoy. This is the Group of Five guys, and we are coming to you live.
They got Old Dominion week 3, and ODU is by no means a layup. The Group of Five guys told me that, so that has to be true.
We looked at each other, we was like, Mike, the best place to be is a Group of Five. So I'm sitting here with the Group of Five guys, right?
Troy has won, it's been a winner, and it's a special place, so it's why you want the job.
But it's a ton of fun to watch a guy go to the NFL from a Nevada or a Colorado State or a Middle Tennessee or an App State, and fans follow that kid.
It was across there. You want to have this thing packed out, have the student section packed out, giving those guys hell on the sideline. I mean, that's part of it. I mean,
win or lose, we're winning the tailgate.
There's no better place to be developed in this country than Boise State.
Boy, Jeff, a couple folks on that intro didn't have a great weekend.
No, they did not.
We might have to make some edits. No, I'm just kidding. What a week one, though. Wild, huh? Still got Chapel Bill Belichick going tonight. So we still got football this weekend.
Yeah, a lot of football being played over the weekend. Some good, some not so good. I think we got to get back to the old camp schedule. I think you see, excuse me, a lot of mistakes, a lot of bad football, especially offensively. I know we'll get into it, but yeah, it's tough. It was a tough weekend for some, a great weekend for others, and some teams have kind of put the Group of Five on notice, so to speak.
Yeah, 100%. And you're right. I think there were some teams even that fortunately came away with the win that still looked really bad at times. And that's to be expected, right? Week 0, week 1. However, maybe it's just a feeling. Maybe it's just the old man in me. It seemed a little worse this week across the board. Even last night, Notre Dame and Miami at times. And I'm sure we'll see it tonight with North Carolina and TCU. But anyway, got to shout out some partners, Jeff. Even though we pushed the show back an hour today, we are still sipping the Deca Gray coffee. I got the Group of Five guys game day dark roast. You guys know the drill. When you wake up in the morning with us, we will always have it. You need to have it, especially on Saturdays for those noon kickoffs. Get your coffee out there for your breakfast tailgate. DecaGray.com. Get you your roast to order coffee. You put it in the cart. You put in promo code GOFG. You get 10% off plus free shipping. Group of Five guys.com. I'm losing it, Jeff. DecaGray.com, promo code GOFG, get you some roast to order coffee. And we've been talking about it, Levels Sports Picks. By the way, we got a new soccer guy on the team.
Cleaning up.
This guy's unbelievable. I don't think he's lost yet.
No.
So I think 3 days in a row he's hitting 3 for 3 by 6 a.m.
It's crazy. And there's soccer all over the world, and this guy's just tuned into it. So, yeah, you got to join Level Sports Picks. They're talking MLB, NFL's right around the corner, obviously college football, soccer. UFC, anything you want and need, they got picks over there. You make your money back real quick. And besides that, it's just a great community of people that want to educate when it comes to this stuff and help you have a little extra scratch in the old bank account.
100%. Well, Jeff, you mentioned some of the offenses being bad. Special teams were bad all over the place. What was good? Give me something that happened over week one, something we need to start paying attention to, whether it be a team, a player, a coach. What do you got?
Man, I'm going to go with I think the James Madison Dukes are as advertised, and it was great to see Alonzo Barnett out there. Looked really good. Obviously, you always have a couple mistakes here and there, but we got a lot of flack for kind of backing the Dukes in the offseason. I know it was against the team they played, but you come out. We saw so many teams that come out and didn't perform. They came out, performed like a top team, and I think our analysis on them was pretty spot on. So I think James Madison, they've arrived. I think they're ready to go.
Well, and they got a big one Friday night against Louisville.
Do.
That's the one. You remember in the offseason, I talked about James Madison's schedule. I said, sets up nicely for him. This is the one, though. This Louisville one's the one they got to get. It's the one that's really going to put them on the map. And Alonzo Barnett played and played well. So, like you said, on notice the rest of the Sun Belt. Because, by the way, I mean, the rest of the Sun Belt, outside of one other team in the East, didn't look great over the weekend. I'm going to give you one we need to start paying attention to. And you and I have been paying attention to this team in the offseason. We talked about them and their new coach's arrival and the culture that was going to be built. Central Michigan, Jeff. They go beat San Jose State, who I had in the Mountain West Championship game, and I still do. I think that's something we'll talk about here as we get into the show. But they go down and beat San Jose State. And you know what I noticed about this game, Jeff, that I didn't notice almost anywhere in the country? Group of 5, Power 5. They had a freaking identity. We knew it. You're going to bring in this coach from West Point, right? He's a Midwest guy. Central Michigan's an O-line school. It's O-line U in the Group of 5, right? Well, they run the ball 52 times, 225 yards rushing. They only throw it for 13 attempts. You want to talk about knowing what you have, knowing what you want to do. They played physical. They played fast. And the best part about this, what you see with teams that haven't had a ton of success, is it looked like they were going to lose at the end. And that's when you see teams that do lose, they crumble. And Central Michigan did not. And that's a credit to Matt Drinkle. We had him on the show, and we talked about this. They just played hard. They just played physical, and they ran the damn ball, which I don't understand why nobody else does. Here's the other thing. 0 turnovers for Central Michigan, and they got 3. They only got 5 turnovers all year last year on defense. They got 3 on Saturday.
It's amazing what you can do when you win the turnover battle and you win, or at least get close to time of possession. You're going to be in football games. And that was the thing I noticed about Central Michigan. I was like, damn, they are playing hard. They wanted it more. They came out from the jump, fired up, ready to go. They took on the identity of their coach. That's what a great coach does. He uses his personality, whatever that may be, whatever the culture he wants to instill, and it just permeates throughout the entire roster. And you saw that from the opening snap to the very last one. And you just got to give Drinkle credit. And then, I know we'll talk about this game. And then you go look at Army where he left. They didn't look the same. And not even from like a obviously a schematic standpoint was a little bit different. But man, that offensive line, it didn't seem like the offensive line of last year where we were up there watching them and they were just physical, very well coached. So shout out to Central Michigan and Matt Drinkle.
Yeah, 100%. And Jeff, you mentioned going back to the camp schedule. I have a sneaky suspicion that camp at Central Michigan looked a little different this fall or this summer than it did elsewhere around the country. I have a feeling. I bet you it was harder than most of those guys have ever dealt with. And I hate to say it, it's going to make their season more fun. You know what I mean? You go through something hard like that, and they played their ass off, and they got the win. But you mentioned it, Jeff. Offense, special teams, sloppy. And again, that's you always know it, right? You think about going back to our days in spring ball, and you have that first spring scrimmage, the first Saturday, and offense looks sloppy. Defense always thinks that they're hot stuff because they beat the offense in that first scrimmage. And then as camp goes or as spring goes, the offense starts to catch up a little bit. They start putting in more plays and things like that. So it's to be expected. But, man, this weekend, just across the board, teams looked out of sync. Coaches, I thought, not great play calling across the board, putting their guys in bad spots. Do you think why do you think it was? Or is it just me being negative?
I don't think it's you being negative at all. I mean, we were texting throughout the entire weekend as we were watching games, and I'm like, why is this team like? This is coming from a quarter. Like, I want to throw the ball 40, 50 times a game, but if they're giving you advantageous boxes and then anytime you run it, you're getting 4 or 5 yards, why are you not doing that? They're sitting back in coverage, daring you to run the ball, and you're just throwing into it and not having success. Like, I didn't watch all the Notre Dame game last night, but you have probably the best running back in the country, and you have, a freshman or a young quarterback?
Freshman.
And you're not giving it to the guy? Not giving it to Jeremiah Love? Like, I just can't understand an offensive mind, and this is why I loved Buster Faulkner so much when he was at middle. Like, he was like, you have to have a high capacity for boredom. If they are giving you the 5-yard hitch route, you throw the 5-yard hitch route until they take it away. If they're giving you a box where they're a 5-man box where you have to run the ball, check to a run and run it until they bring the extra guy down, and then we can do different things. But it's almost like a lot of these offensive coordinators are like, can't get out of their own way. And I get it. It's they got to get tuned up as well. Like, coaches, you got to get back into the flow of a game, but we got to recognize when you got a great player in the backfield, or that's the only thing that's working tonight, and you have to lean on it. You can't just, what's the definition of an insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting a different result. Like, you got to be able to make adjustments. And what you didn't see was coaches and staffs and coordinators making adjustments.
Jeff, do you ever, you may not because you're an entrepreneur guy, but you ever meet somebody at a corporate level, or for me, right? I'm a sales, just a regular old sales guy, right? You put these people that have let's say it's the sales vice president or something like that. You put them on this pedestal, like, man, they must be so good at their job. It's kind of what you do with these coaches sometimes. You think they must be so smart. But then you get in front of them and you see them do it and you're like, oh, this guy ain't no different from me. You know what I mean? Like, this guy's overthinking things. He's getting in his own way. I mean, you look at it. We talk about Central Michigan with their identity, and then you go back to Thursday night and you look at Boise State. You're Boise State. That's what you do. You run the ball, and they wouldn't do it. They just wouldn't do it. Notre Dame. That's what you do. You're Notre Dame. You're going to have big physical offensive line. You get a great running back. Run the ball. And, Jeff, you combine that with, what did we talk about? There's less practices, so you're not even allowed to practice as much. Then you combine it with how many percent of these quarterbacks, especially, are brand new to a program. So less time in the offense, less time installing plays, less time with your guys, less time on the field, less time with your coach. And we're going to throw it more. We're going to do more stuff. We're going to be more complex. It's just super frustrating to see. And so many teams just went away from it. Notre Dame, like, he was working. How many times did Jeremiah Love hurdle over some guy? I mean, what did he have, 8 carries? He had about 6 hurdles.
Something stupid.
I mean, it just was wild to see across the board the whole weekend, and frustrating, of things that are working and then not working. And then, I don't know, Jeff. We got a lot of games to talk about, so I'm sure we're going to dig more into this topic as about these games. But first, we hit the Thursday night games. We talked about those on Friday morning, so we'll talk about these Friday games first. The very first one, the very first FCS over FBS win of the weekend. Tarleton State beats Army 30-27. Jeff, special teams, it was a mess all weekend, but you missed 2 field goals at Army, and that's going to do it. One that would have won the game.
But they shouldn't even have been in that spot, Sprouse. You're up 14, I think, in the third quarter, and you have the game, and you're running your triple option. You're moving it down the field. You get in close near the red zone, and what do? Let's go play action. Let's just go play action with a younger, from an experience standpoint, quarterback, and he forces a seam route in a triple coverage, and they pick it off. Momentum a little bit swings back that way. Tarleton State goes down, and credit to them, their offense, they did a good job running the ball, controlling what they could control when they got opportunities. So they go down, they score. So now it's a 7-point game. Army gets the ball. You go over there. They hand it off, fumble. Tarleton State gets the ball back. Like you can't turn it over, and it's just so frustrating, mind blowing. But Army didn't look like the same team from a year ago, and we knew they were going to take a step back. I thought Coleman played pretty well outside of the turnovers. Very athletic, bigger than I thought he was from a physicality standpoint, but the defense couldn't stop the run. I mean, it was tough sledding for Army, but that's the thing is you had it and you gave it up. That's what's the most frustrating point.
Well, and it's very frustrating there too, because you don't have all the other issues that we just talked about. You don't have a whole new roster of transfer portal guys. You got guys that have been running this offense and stuff like that. And then, hey, shout out to Tyrone Nix, old defensive coordinator. Now, listen, he put together that he probably pulled out his notes from us versus Georgia Tech circa 2012. And we're like, we're going to run this. This is how you stop it.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to do.
Physical.
But yeah, tough one for Army for sure. App State at Charlotte. I'll tell you, App State was one of the few offensively, especially over the weekend, that I thought looked sharp. I thought AJ Swan looked really sharp, taking what they gave him, quick decisions, good throws, accurate throws on time.
I was so impressed with AJ Swan, and you just never know with these transfer quarterbacks coming in. But Loggins, offensive mind coming from South Carolina, just kudos to you guys and a great job to AJ Swan, because 368 yards, 3 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I mean, he was just it's so much fun to watch when a quarterback, you can just tell he understands and he's just so calm. Boom.
Yep.
Boom. Boom. Hitting his spots, accurate, on time, and that was to me the biggest difference, and Rashad DeBinion, 22 carries, 111 yards and a touchdown. Like, you got to get into that 15 to 20, carries a game number, I think, for running backs. I just think that as the game goes on, they see more offensive line, they see more holes open up, they see the defense. Like, you just get into a rhythm and they can really go. So shout out to App State, looking very, very good. And honestly, a welcome sight. Welcome sight.
You know what's, and I'm trying to watch this game neutral, but you know what's one of the best feelings in the world as a fan is when you just trust what that quarterback's doing. You're not worried about a turnover. You're not worried about a bad throw. And that's, one of the few across the country that look like that. I thought, you and I were texting a little bit. Carson Beck looked kind of like that last night, like where he just looks comfortable. And, also App State's defense, they looked a little bit like the old App State defense, flying around. They just looked fast the other night. And, hey, big win, big in-state win. Duke's Maryville, 34-11. I know everybody's going to say, well, it's just Charlotte. Well, beat Charlotte by 3 touchdowns. I mean, you'll take that any day.
Yeah, and I think you just got to give Tim Albin a little bit of time. He's a great coach, and he's a proven coach. It's just, it's your first game, going up against another first coach in a program, and you just never know what you're going to get. But I think Charlotte's going to be just fine. They made a good hire. It's just going to take, a little bit of time.
Jeff, one of the many, many opportunities we had at a P4 win, didn't think this would be one of them, but it damn near should have been one of them. And that's Kennesaw going to Wake Forest. They lose by a point. And Jeff, here we are. We're 2 games in, and we've got a missed extra point and a missed field goal. That's your game. I mean, you just can't do it. And I'm not even saying, I'm not even here to get on the kicker train of blaming kickers and this and that, because there was a lot of bad play. But extra points, man, you got to hit that.
Those are chip shots. There's no excuse. And I didn't see the hold. Could have been a bad hold. Could have been. I don't know that, but it's just so frustrating as a player when kickers every day in practice you're kicking, and then you get out there and I know mistakes happen, but unfortunately that's the world you live in. You signed up to be a kicker, and it's a lot of pressure, but we got to get you guys to come through, man. A PAT, an extra point. But shout out Dexter Williams. I thought he played really well for Kennesaw and didn't turn it over. You know, he had the fumble that it wasn't lost, but it's just like, this is what not turning the ball over gives you. It does not give extra possessions to the opposing teams. It's going to keep you in games. And, you know, he wanted to be the guy and get the opportunity. He bet on himself, went to Kennesaw, and damn, almost upstate Wake Forest in the first game.
Well, and shout out to him and Benyard, the receiver. He had some big. It's wild they only scored 9 points because those two were making plays. It felt like all night. But yeah, I mean, Kennesaw to me, I tweeted about this. We talk about these schools, Georgia State, Kennesaw State. You look at FAU, FIU. Like, there's these schools that are in these fertile recruiting grounds that they're always going to have some dudes. And it's just going to click. It's just got to mesh once, and they're going to have a really good team. And I think Kennesaw can be like that. And again, don't go making that damn stadium any bigger in Kennesaw. Okay, leave it how it is, because otherwise you're going to have an empty stadium every week. But look, here's what I'll say too. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, it's Wake Forest. Come on, guys, bottom feeder of the ACC." Okay, I'm fine with that. And then we're going to get into some of these MAC teams, too, that went toe-to-toe with the Big Ten or the SEC. And you're going to say, well, come on, Sprouse, it's Kentucky. Okay. Well, just remember that when you give me 3 or 4 ACC teams and 3 or 4 SEC teams and 3 or 4 Big Ten teams that are not good, you're telling me when we go talk about Alabama's strength of schedule or somebody else's strength of schedule. I'm fine with it. I agree. I don't think Kentucky's, a top-tier program. I don't think Wake Forest is that good. But let's just remember that when Miami beats them or when, Clemson beats them.
Well, and the other point, too, is it's like this is a big step up from where Kennesaw was a year ago. So credit to them taking Wake Forest to the brink and quite frankly, probably should have had the W. So they're on the rise, man. Good for them.
Hey, FIU, I mentioned them a minute ago. I mean, home game, Willie Simmons, first game as the Panthers coach. They come out and did what they were supposed to do. I know you're going to say, 42-9, Bethune-Cookman, they're not very good. They're a bottom feeder FCS school. But FIU in the past, they don't do that. You remember last year, they lost their FCS game to Monmouth. The year before that, they beat Maine by 2 in 2023. So this is a step for FIU where you say, hey, we got better players. We're going to come out here and dominate this game. And the Stars, I mean, they played pretty well. Keywan Jenkins didn't turn it over. So that's your key right there. And then John Owens, 11 carries, 71 yards, 2 touchdowns. So I like that. I like that performance from the Panthers, Jeff.
I do too. And that's what you want to see. You want to see that. I mean, of course, things could have been a little bit cleaner and a little bit more crisp. But for the opening game to come out and put a 42 spot on Bethune-Cookman, like, kudos to that staff and Willie Simmons and Nick Coleman. Shout out those guys down there. And future's bright, I think, at Florida International University.
Jeff, we got called the R word on Twitter for ranking UNLV in our top 11, preseason.
Something.
Well, lo and behold, I mean, guess who's 2-0? And guess who's in the Mountain West that was supposed to be one of the top teams that's actually won some games, outside of the other ones. And they beat who I think is a pretty good Sam Houston team, 38-21. UNLV offensively, I ain't worried about that at all because their offense has been rolling.
And we talked about in the offseason, which quarterback was it going to be for them? And I think they finally found it. He played well in week 1 and got the keys in week 2. Anthony Calandria, just great performance. I really like this kid, transfer from Virginia, 2 touchdowns, did have an interception, but man, he's athletic and can run all over the field, had a rushing touchdown as well. And then Jet Thomas, man, I mean, when he makes a cut, he gets to 100 miles an hour faster than I think anybody else I've seen so far in this season. And you're not catching him when he gets up to full speed. And then flip side to Sam Houston, like I can't hop on the 2 quarterback system train.
Nope.
I've never been a fan of it as a player. As a fan, I've never been a fan of it. You have Hunter Watson, who can do it all. He's the most athletic kid on the field. He's a very good thrower. Definitely room for improvement there. You're a quarterback coach, Coach Longo. I know you brought over a guy from your previous stop, but you insert that guy in, I think it was the first quarter, to give him a drive, and he throws a pick six. Like, there's something to the rhythm of the game that you get into a flow when you're seeing fronts, you're seeing coverages, you're seeing live bullets. Like, it's so difficult to just throw somebody in there, and then when you take out the guy who was starting, it does something to his mindset too. Hunter Watson's the guy to me. Like, he's the best guy you got on the roster. I think you got to roll with him.
The other thing that they did, and they kept talking about it on the broadcast, and it was pissing me off, is they were talking about how he tends to rely on his feet too early, and he makes one read and then takes off, and they were praising him for staying in the pocket. And to me, I was watching it and I was like, no, to me, it looks like he's forcing it to stay in the pocket, and he's not being himself. And to me, like, again, when you talk about these coaches, the great coaches have their roster and they build their offense around the roster. The ones that tend to struggle have their system and their scheme, and they don't deviate from it. And no matter what they have on the roster, they're running the same thing. They're not changing anything. And when you have a guy that's probably better with his feet than he is with his arm, he's not bad with his arm, but he's phenomenal with his feet. And you're forcing him to stay in the pocket. And when Sam Houston has had success in the 2 games that they've played, especially the one we saw him live, it's been Hunter Watson's feet, nothing else. A little bit of the running backs, which McCaskill, I don't think he played at all.
No, he was out. He was out with an injury, and you hate to see that.
I am switching subjects a little bit here. I'm interested to see, like, with UNLV in particular, so Orgy now, how many guys are we going to see after the first 3 or 4 games go talk to their agent, red shirt, and hop in the portal? And you wonder, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it's going to happen somewhere where somebody's going to do that, and then the number 1 guy is going to go down, and now you have that 3rd string guy or 4th string guy at any position now, not just quarterback, who might be a walk-on, might be a true freshman, might just not have it, And so look out for that after these next couple of weeks to see what happens across the country.
You're definitely going to see it. I don't think there's any question about it. It's just, like you said, as we get into the season a little bit more. I mean, we saw it last year with Ben Bell. That's exactly what happened at Texas State, and I just can't stand it. It's another byproduct of NIL in the transfer portal. But before we move on, I do want to shout out Jaden Bradley. 2 monster games back to back at wideout for UNLV. 125 yards on 6 catches and a touchdown. I mean, seems like UNLV offensively has been able to kind of pick up where they left off from a year ago.
Yeah, and they tightened up a little defensively, right? We'll see, man. And this, can I say something too? This happens every year, Jeff. Last year, I think, was maybe the worst year. We get up here preseason, and you'll have your favorites, you'll have your people that you think are going to be good, and we panic and we overreact after the first 2 weeks. And sometimes it goes into 3 or 4 weeks. But then, lo and behold, at the end of the season, the teams that were supposed to be there end up, here they are, they're back. It happens with UTSA, I feel. For some reason, it feels like them all the time, where they start 0-4 or 1-4. And you're like, God, UTSA is just not good. And then end of the year, American standings, and you're like, all UTSA's got to do is win this last week, and they're in. So watch out for that too, right? If your boy, everybody's panicking right now. Nobody's lost a conference game except for Sam Houston, right?
Yeah.
Nobody's won a conference game except for Western Kentucky. So everybody relax. It was bad across the board, okay? If you're Boise, if you're Charlotte, maybe not if you're Middle, but it was bad across the board, and you got some time. Anyway, Western Michigan and Michigan State, they kept this relatively close. Their defense tried. They played well. They just couldn't do anything offensively. 220 total offensive yards for Western Michigan, Jeff.
It was a struggle. And this is what you kind of get sometimes up front when you have the Big Ten defensive lines, against a MAC offensive line. And we kind of saw this throughout the weekend in those matchups, like struggle running the ball. And the teams that kind of hung around had success in the air. Jalen Buckner, only 9 carries. I mean, again, I know that you're playing from behind. I just think you got to get them 14, 15 at least carries and just see what happens. They can pop one for 30 or 40 yards, and it just can change all the momentum. But yeah, we'll see. Brady Jones, the JUCO quarterback we talked about, got the bulk of the snaps. So interested to see that situation going forward.
Yeah, and and I get it. You have this game plan of you think, okay, Michigan State's got a good run defense, so we're going to have to do something else. But you still got to keep them honest, and you can still get creative with different ways to get get your best players the ball, get them in space. But it was tough. I don't put too much weight on that one because they gave them the rock a little bit. It wasn't like in my opinion, Boise and like what Notre Dame did last night, where they just went. By the way, Jeff, I tweeted about this. South Florida O-line, Micah James, brother, you better get them boys ready to roll, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I didn't watch any of Florida's tape. They played Long Island, I think, like that. But I imagine they're going to have some dudes too. But that number 4, that Ruben Bain fella down in Miami, woo-hoo,
He's pretty good.
You better get him ready to roll, Micah James. Anyway, this is one of the most disappointing games of the weekend. FAU at Maryland, Jeff. I mean, we were so high on this offense. And again, still am. I'm not going to panic a little bit. But Velkamp threw 4 interceptions. You just can't do it.
You can't. And that was was so frustrating. And I, get it. New receivers, similar system that you've been in. And I think Maryland's a better team than they've had, especially offensively. I mean, they were, couldn't be stopped against FAU, and that was our worry in the offseason was this defense with so many new pieces on that side of the ball. Are they going to be able to at least, like, hold the levee, hold the water in? And it didn't seem like they could. And then when you have all the extra turnovers, you're getting your defense right back out there. So you got to clean that up. And I think if they can, especially when they get into conference play, I still think there'll be a team that's going to make some noise and beat some people that a lot of people didn't expect. But they got to clean some things up offensively. But good thing they got Zach Kintley, who's a great coach. He'll get it dialed in.
Yeah, I think they will. We got this one, Jeff. Northwestern in New Orleans at Tulane. Tulane, especially defensively, looked really good. And then Retzlaff, we talked about that. If he gets the keys as early as he got them, it's going to be a game changer for Tulane. And he was a game changer for sure.
This was the piece that Tulane was missing in the offseason. And before he came over, I was just like, I don't know if I can put Tulane at the top of this conference because the most important position on the field, like they have guys that were capable, I thought, but they weren't game changers. Jake Retzlaff is a game changer, and you saw it not only with his arms or with his arm, but with his legs. 113 yards on the ground in a long touchdown run. Then you add on there the 152 yards in the air with a touchdown. Again, he was one of the quarterbacks throughout the weekend, I thought, that looked very comfortable. Just going
Which is
right
crazy
through his
because
reads.
he had the least amount of time from anybody, Jeff.
I know, but some guys are just built that way. And left BYU because of the issues he had there or whatever.
He ain't gonna have those issues in New Orleans.
He's not. And man, it was awesome to see. And then love the obviously Summerall's our boy, but the Summerall quote after I think it was post game is when I heard it. And they wanted to wear the same uniforms, the white uniforms on the anniversary of Hurricane Katrina. And to Northwestern's credit, it's their choice. They said no. But you give any the slightest bit of bulletin board material for John Summerall, you better believe he's going to use it. Because after the game, he was like, look, that was their prerogative, but don't ever disrespect the city of New Orleans.
I love that guy, dude.
I love him so much.
And I'll tell you what I love, too. I love how much he's embraced the city. Not just Tulane, but he's embracing the whole culture of New Orleans. Here's the other thing. They intercepted Preston Stone, former Group of 5 quarterback, 4 times. So, you're gonna win a lot of games. You get 4 interceptions. And you know what I love the most about it, Jeff? At the end of the game, in the 4th quarter, they were able to pound the rock, run the ball, and just move that Northwestern defensive line. And I know it's Northwestern. I get it. Still wear a Big Ten patch, and they're still going to. Northwestern will beat somebody in the Big Ten. That's one of the good Big Ten teams. They'll beat somebody. So shout out to Tulane there. But that's a big win and just a dominant win, start to finish. And Retzlaff, as they move on to this schedule, right, as you get Duke in a couple weeks, you get South Alabama this week, and then you get Ole Miss. Retzlaff's feet are going to be what can be a difference maker in that game. The thing that they've got to fix, Jeff, and this has been a problem for the last couple of years at Tulane, they got too many damn drops, man. Way too many receivers, running backs dropping good passes or at least catchable passes. I mean, they had 5 or 6 on Saturday.
And a couple that would have kept the chains moving on a couple situations. Exactly. And when you get into tight games, that's what you have to have. You have to make the routine plays and keep the chains rolling against when you get into those games against Ole Miss or Memphis when you get into conference, like the really good teams. You got to take advantage of every opportunity that you have.
Yeah, that game could have easily been 35-3. I mean, they were solid, but several drops that were, like you said, first down drives. And then look, when you get Ole Miss, okay, that you probably ain't holding Ole Miss to 9 points. Okay. So you're not going to be able to give them a possession when you got a chance to move the chains, run the clock a little bit more. So those are going to be, they better get the jugs machine out, Jeff. I don't know if they still make those. I don't know if they still make, I don't know if they still make any of the same stuff they used to make. Also in the American, VMI at Navy. Hey, look, Navy came in and got it done, 52-7. At least they came out and dominated. And here's the thing: Horvath really didn't have to do much.
No,
but Braxton Woodson, he did a lot. 7 carries, 180 yards, 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
have a day.
Yeah, backup quarterback getting in there and making it happen, which gives you a lot of confidence with the way that Blake Horvath plays, just naturally getting hit more than your average quarterback.
Yep.
To have a guy right behind him to be able to come in situations where he might be teamed up for a couple plays or God forbid he's out for a couple weeks. So yeah, shout out to him and Tezka, Eli Heidenreich. Like they're as advertised as we talked about. And with that schedule, they should roll until you get to that kind of mid to end of the season there when you got Notre Dame and a couple other teams. But yeah, they look good.
Jeff, I got another team that I am putting the American Conference on notice. Temple. I mean, 42-10. I know it's UMass. Casey Keeler coming up there from Sam Houston, right? Jay Ducker. We talked about how Sam Houston going to replace him. 19 carries, 128 for Temple. And then the quarterback play, Jeff.
Have a day, son.
I mean, Evan Simon, 19-25, 248, 6 touchdowns, and not a pick.
Not a pick. Not a pick. That's going to be the new line, I'm telling you. You don't throw interceptions. It just changes the entire complexity of the game. When's the last time Temple's put up 42? I mean, I'd have to look that up, but I bet you it's been a while. So shout out Casey Keeler coming up there, bringing some pieces with him. And, I mean, I don't know. Things could be changing up there in Philadelphia.
Well, and Jeff, here's the crazy thing. It's not that long ago when Temple, now they did it more defensively. It's 10 years ago. Temple's playing primetime games on ABC against Notre Dame, against some of those ACC opponents. So Temple's had some success. They just have fallen so far from it. But now you bring a guy that can build a program that's comfortable in the Northeast. He likes it up there. He brings some guys with him with the portal. You're in Philly. So you go get some guys from Philadelphia, from Baltimore, from D.C. You get them up there to Temple. They can be good quick.
Never know.
Problem is they're in this American Conference that so far in week 1 looks to be the deepest, especially at the top, right? Like Temple, yeah, you look good, but they didn't look better than Tulane. They didn't look better than South Florida, Memphis. You know what I mean? So they're gonna have a tough task, but can they insert themselves in that mix with the UTSAs that are maybe one small tier behind the Tulane, South Floridas, and Memphis of the world?
Well, Sprouse, one thing that we've talked about in years past is when we meet coaches or have the opportunity, we've had coaches in our lifetime, like the players can spot a phony quicker than anybody, I swear, in any facet of business, whatever the case may be. When a coach walks into a locker room and starts talking to his guys, if there's any whiff of fakeness, they're going to spot it out. And Casey Keeler seems to be the type of coach who is so confident in his culture and his system and what he does. Guarantee you him going up to Temple, like he wanted to go up there. Go up there and just instill his kind of mantra. And like you saw it. You saw it on the field. Again, it was UMass. I get it. But there's just something about certain coaches that you believe in what they're trying to build. And to me, he's one of them.
100%. And we got to, Jeff, I realize we're still in the American Conference and we've been going for 45 minutes. Chattanooga at Memphis. Memphis, pretty efficient. Brendan Lewis, 22-28, 199, and then another 81 on the ground. That's what we talked about in the offseason, that he brings a little bit better than what Seth Hennigan had, is that ability to get some yard on the ground. And hey, how about Frank Pizant, Jeff? 61 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah,
former Blue Raider.
That's right. Former Blue Raider getting it done. Happy for him getting an opportunity. I thought he was going to be a little deeper on the depth chart, but hey, that's what happens in camp. You do well and win an opportunity and have a performance like that. It's a dynamic backfield Memphis is going to have all year.
I'll tell you, UTSA, they hung around with Texas A&M pretty good. That was a tight game until very late in the third. And Robert Henry, 16 carries, 177 yards, 2 touchdowns. Many would argue that Texas A&M benefited from some poor officiating. I won't go there. I didn't watch the entire game as I was trying to flip back and forth. You know, I tell you, YouTube TV, it's pretty good. Okay, having the 4 games on at once. But you know what I wish they would do is, I wish the game that you put the sound on, like the one that you're watching, I wish they would make that one just a little bigger than the other 4 screens. Like pop it out a little bit. Maybe my TV is just not big enough. I don't know. You
gotta upgrade there. But love UTSA being able to run the ball against this number 19th ranked team in the country out of the SEC. I mean, this is what UTSA is going to do. This is where they, kind of used to be when they were top of Conference USA going into the American a few years ago. 200 yards on the ground against this defense. And Owen McCown played pretty well, I thought. Didn't have a touchdown pass, but also didn't throw it to the other team. So they're going to be just fine, and a team that's going to do damage in the American.
Rice, Jeff, I know we're bringing this game up with the American and not with the Sun Belt, but Rice goes to Lafayette and beats the Cajuns 14-12. I mean, I don't even think Rice looked great. Here's a stat for you, though, Jeff. Louisiana had 4 possessions in the fourth quarter. They had the ball for a combined 5 minutes in the fourth quarter. So that means you get 4 drives and you barely go over a minute a drive. You're not going to win a game like that.
No. Well, and that's just this type of offense that Rice is running now, right? It's kind of like this triple option, time of possession, control it, and limit the opposing offense. And Walker Howard was one of the things, we discussed. Was he's got to be the guy. 10 for 22, 88 yards and a touchdown ain't it. I know he used his legs a little bit and ran around, but you got to give credit to Rice here. We were super high on Louisiana, still am. Not going to completely panic. Again, this game doesn't matter in the grand scheme of things, but it matters from a standpoint of, like, you didn't look great in your opener. So we got to get things fixed.
Yeah, 100%. Tulsa gets a big win in Trey Lamb's first game, 35-7 over Abilene Christian. Fun fact, Jeff, I met freshman quarterback Andrew Alford's grandpa at the farmer's market. We go Saturday morning in the Sprouse house. We get up, we head over to the farmer's market. We get some berries, we get some eggs.
There you go.
Maybe some fresh baked cookies. I don't know. Dude was decked out in Tulsa gear. So I had to ask him, I'm in Southwest Georgia. See some guy decked out in Tulsa gear. I said, hey man, did you play at Tulsa? Oh no, my grandkid did. Product of Phoenix City Central High School, by the way. You want to talk about a program. So interested to see, shout out to him.
Yeah, happy for Trey Lamb and company. Kirk Francis played well. Dominic Richardson, the running back, had a big game, 20 carries. Go figure. 142 yards and a touchdown. Great job to start the season for Tulsa.
Yeah, and then North Texas, 8 different receivers caught a pass. They beat Lamar 51-0. That North Texas offense, we know what it's going to be, but We got to see if if they'll be able to stop people once they get into conference play. You move on to Conference USA. Liberty 7-7 into the fourth quarter against Maine, and they gave up some rushing yards. So that Liberty defense is going to have to step it up a little bit if they want to be the Liberty. Because here's the deal. You're going to get Western Kentucky at some point or another, and that offense is rolling. So Liberty better figure it out on defense.
Yeah, Vasco, like you said, started slow, but ended up finishing pretty strong. Vasco, 4 total touchdowns on the day. Thought he was going to be the starter, and he was. And I think they'll get it together. Again, it's so hard to judge these week 0, week 1 games. It's let's get into week 3, week 4, and then see how these teams really, really progress and get their feet underneath them.
All right, Jeff, you ready to go?
Not really, but
Austin P 34, Middle Tennessee 14. Embarrassing. Worst outing, in my opinion, in the entire country, Jeff. We still can't block anybody, and it's the worst thing of all time to lose. It's one thing you lose to an FCS opponent, but an in-state, right up the road FCS opponent, not good.
Yeah, this one hurt. Me, the family, we were all there watching it, and you invest a lot into your alma mater and program, and for them to come out, and look like this, it was disheartening for sure. But what this was to me, this was a culmination. This was a culmination of 20 years of incompetent leadership at the top of this university. And as somebody in Sprouse, you're in this boat too, and there's a lot of people in Murfreesboro and in the Middle Tennessee area that love this university and want to see it great. And we're just tired of it, man. Like everything from top to bottom, from the university refusing to get along with the city to like things not making sense on campus. Like it's just so frustrating to see this. And like, yeah, there was issues on the field for sure. Still can't run the ball. Guards getting defensive line crossing their face on inside run. A lot of man coverage in the back end defensively, and we're getting beat. Like all those things are fair, complaints and fair things that need to be fixed, and I think they will be fixed. But man, everything that seems to happen over that university is like, yeah, well, that's just middle. And in any business that you have, whether it's a university, I own a business, like it starts at the top, and it just seems like we don't have people in place that, number one, have a plan, number two, know how to execute it, and number three, like just don't have a vision. Sprouse, we've had the opportunity to travel the country and meet presidents, athletic directors, head coaches, top to bottom, like teachers. And it's so disheartening when we go places and we're like, damn, this is awesome. Like to hear the president have the same message as the athletic director, to have the same message as the head coach, to see all the people on campus want to go up and talk to the president or talk to the athletic director, and they go around and shake people's hand and people like want to be invested in it. It's infectious. And when you don't have it at your alma mater, it's like, it's one of the most disheartening things ever. So yes, could they have played better and started out? Of course they could have. But it starts at the top, and you have 20 years of stock being there, asking for the new building that was built 20 years ago, asking for these things to build the program. But you don't have a vision at the top, so then everything trickles down. The athletic department doesn't have a vision, then the programs don't have, like everyone is pulling in different directions, and you have all these silos up and down. And until we have a competent leader that has a vision, we're going to get more of the same regardless of who's at any coach of any program. And quite frankly, I'm sick of it.
I wasn't even going to bring up the fact that I saw multiple complaints that you couldn't even see from some of your premium seats because the band moved and they got tubas blocking the damn window of the premium boxes, Jeff.
I mean, what more do you want that encompasses everything that happens over there than that? And like, yeah, it's sure, it's a small thing, right? It's a small thing, but we wanted a new band director, and we get it. We get the new band director, and they changed up the seating arrangement. Nobody notifies him that, hey, you might want to this is why the last two rows have been empty in front of the outdoor suites. You got to keep it that way. And you only get 6 home games a year, Sprouse. And one of them, all those people could see. So,
well, Jeff, you're right. Like, it's not that big a deal in and of itself, but it is a big deal because it's typical, right? It's a typical thing where it's just an aspect that gets looked over, and the people that suffer the most are the people that invest the most. So you're, and look, this is not a knock on the band. Like, this is not a knock on the band. I think bands are one of the biggest parts of what make college football great. Having the band, I love it. There's nothing better than 2 hours before the game. You hear the snares and you hear the horns. You gotta love it. But it is also a football game. Is the reason people are there, especially in the premium seats. So it's just one of those things where it's like you're just glossing over, you're overlooking people that are investing a ton and pouring their money and their effort and their time into the program. You're overlooking them for somebody else, and that's the part that's frustrating, right? We this is going back years ago, and now the student body is such a different group than it's ever been too. But for a long time, you overlooked the students in favor of just a couple people that complained about having a DJ in the student section, or you overlooked the students, for something else. And it just, over time, it just turns people away. You have generations of alumni now that never gave a crap about that university. And you had multiple windows. You had a huge window after they win the New Orleans Bowl. And I'm not even there yet. I don't think you're there yet for the New Orleans Bowl.
Following year.
But you win the New Orleans Bowl. You have an 11 or a 10-win season. Everybody's fired up. You're selling out games. At the same time, Memphis is bad. Tennessee is bad. Vanderbilt is bad. Nashville, all of a sudden, is on this trajectory. Boom. You have a chance to capture all of it, and you don't do a thing. You don't do a thing. And again, like you said, stock is begging for, hey, if we want to be a true D1 program, we need nutrition. We need a better weight room. We need our own weight room. We don't need a 2,500 square foot weight room that the entire university shares, when other places have 8,000 square foot weight rooms just for football, nutrition centers just for football, locker. Like, he's asking for this stuff in 2009, 2010, and you finally do it in 2025 when, I hate to say it, and it's great, and we needed it. It needed to be done. But in 2025, people care about that a lot less. Now you can use that money somewhere else. Now NIL matters. So you just missed your window to capture it all. And now, you're Memphis trending up, Tennessee trending up, Austin P trending up, Chattanooga trending up, middle, same spot.
Yeah. I can keep going, but we got a ton of games to get to.
Hey, 100 miles up the road, Western Kentucky looked good again. Another 5 touchdowns for McIver, 2 of them to Katie Hutchinson. So it wasn't really Matt Henry this time. It was Katie Hutchinson, which tells me what we knew. They got 3 or 4 guys now, Jeff.
Yeah, and McIver is just sitting back there just playing point guard, man. Bang, hitting them, and he looks the part. He got some recognition. I think it was on ESPN's college
sticker,
football.
right?
Yeah, got a helmet sticker. So shout out to them. It's bad times when we're praising Western and
I know.
Not very happy with the old alma mater there.
I know. Brutal.
Shout out to them.
Yeah, Missouri State had a tough time in LA. USC 73-13. Hey, Jaden Mayaba, former Group of 5 guy, had a pretty good game for SC, though. Southeast Louisiana at La Tech. Big third quarter for La Tech. Other than that, it was a pretty boring game. Still yet to see what La Tech's going to be. Pretty good game. UTEP at Utah State, Jeff. Pretty good game. Both teams improved. Utah State, Miles Davis, hell of a versatile player for them. 6 catches for 61 yards out of the backfield. Not often you get 6 catches out of a running back. 12 carries, 88 yards for him. And then on the other side of the ball, Malachi Nelson, 22 of 34, 178, a touchdown and an interception. They did weirdly pull him for a series, though. Not really sure what that was. They weren't even sure on the broadcast. I think they thought he was hurt or something. But an okay game for him.
Yeah, I thought for his debut he did fine. Kenny Odom, dynamic player on the outside, had 9 catches, 97 yards, and a touchdown. Unfortunately, just wasn't enough to beat, I think, a Utah State team who I think they're going to do some damage in the Mountain West and kind of start to climb the tiers, so to speak, in that conference.
Well, especially as bad as the rest of the conference kind of looked. Bryant Bulldogs at New Mexico State, 19-3 win for New Mexico State. Logan Fife, 14-31 for 227. You're going to have to complete a little more of those. You have to probably get 6 or 7 more of those need to be completed passes if you want to, make moves in the conference. But got the win.
Yeah, but they'll make some noise. I mean, in this conference, like it's going to come down to a couple of teams, but with his legs, I think it gives them just a different dynamic that they haven't had probably since Pavia. So we'll see if they can get back.
And here's the thing too, right? You see that 19-3 and you think, oh, New Mexico State, they're not good, whatever. But that's kind of your typical week one. You look kind of bad, but you still get it done, as opposed to Army and Middle and some of these schools where you play terrible and you lose. At least you can play bad and win, and then you can bounce back a little quicker from that. You're not as demoralized. Moving on to the MAC, Ball State at Purdue. Ball State just couldn't do anything at all. Barely 200 yards of total offense, and they had about half of that on about 4 plays. So not a very good showing for Ball State. Kent State gets in the win column over Merrimack, 21-17. Sometimes, Jeff, you just got to learn how to win. Kent State in the win column. Pretty good game in Lexington. Toledo at Kentucky. Toledo defensively played really. What you got, Jeff?
I just wanted to shout out Kent State.
Yeah.
Kick returner, 100 yards. I mean, this dude was flying now. 100 yards and a touchdown. Darelis Clark. Shout out Darelis Clark for a big-time kick return touchdown.
Here's another thing. I mentioned, like, these backup quarterbacks are going to enter the portal. I fear for teams like Kent State that you're going to have a guy like that has a couple good games, and if they're bad, he's going to sit out and jump in the portal. And I hate it, but it's going to happen across the board. Toledo at Kentucky, Jeff. Toledo defensively played really well. Offense just could not finish a drive. Several 4th downs where they couldn't just get a yard or two, and that would have kept them even more in this game than they were. But I thought Toledo, I mean, they showed some promise for sure.
They did, and they'll be fine. They're still, in my opinion, one of the top teams in the MAC. Just couldn't get the ground game going, and when you can't do that, again, you just kind of become one dimensional. Only 59 yards on the ground. Tucker Gleason did have the pick early on in the game, which gave Kentucky short field, which they ended up scoring on. But they're going to be fine. They're going to be just fine.
Yep. NIU survives against Holy Cross, went down to the wire. NIU, too many drives where they go 3 and out with 1 yard, 0 yards, negative yardage. Like, just way too many. They had 4 or 5 of those in the game, and it just, you got to move the chains at least once. You got to get some kind of positive yardage.
Holy Cross has been a great FCS program too in years past, so I knew this one was just going to be kind of ugly and kind of a grinded out game. I mean, NIU did have 180 yards on the ground. Want to see more from Josh Holst, only 100 yards passing and had the pick. But you get the win. That's all that matters. Nobody's going to remember this game. Just improve and keep it moving.
Texas State offensively looked good, Jeff. Eastern Michigan. Hey, Eastern Michigan, Noah Kim, he played okay.
He did.
He played okay. The offense wasn't bad. They just could not stop Texas State. I mean, could not stop them at all. And Brad Jackson, 18-26, 214, 4 teeters, Jeff.
It's a great day.
Not bad. Not a bad opener.
Great day for Jackson, and then had 48 yards in the ground. But we got to shout out our guy, Lincoln Perry.
Yes,
12 rushes, 167 yards and a touchdown, had a 57-yarder long one there, and just love to see him really being kind of the feature back and getting the opportunity and just taking it literally and running with it.
Well, and the guy has battled injury after injury, it seems like, and just keeps coming back. I mean, I don't know how many feels like he's been there for
this is
6 or 7 years, hadn't he?
It's got to be it for him. This has got to be
right?
The last run, and then also too wanted to highlight Bo Sparks, man. Just 4 touchdown catches, 82 yards. It's like Jackson's was just looking for him, dialing it up to him.
Yeah, let's go to the Mountain West. Nevada at Penn State. Look, Penn State's a playoff team. They're one of the 2 or 3 best teams in the country. I'll say this, though, for Nevada. Chubba Purdy, the quarterback, he made some plays. So Nevada, again, they're in a tough conference, the Mountain West. Well, we think a tough conference. They might give some people some problems, but not going to be able to do it against Penn State. Air Force, Jeff, they look sharp.
They did against Bucknell.
They looked sharp, balanced game, offense, defense. They threw it a little bit too. 2 touchdown passes for Josh Johnson at Air Force.
Well, you were texting me and you were like, Air Force is back, number 1. And then number 2, I was like, and they're throwing the damn ball. So
I'm throwing it. Yeah.
Hey, you get the win on opening weekend and keep the train rolling. But yeah, if they're going to be a little more pass kind of heavy, could be a different element. You know what I mean? To this offense we hadn't seen.
Yeah, if they can do it. Army tried to do it and it failed, and they went right back to what they did. I'm not saying they're not opening it up, Jeff.
Now I know.
They just hit him with that. It used to be called Texas 8. Used to be that's all it was. You do this. You don't huddle. You just at the line. Quarterback just taps the center. Texas 8. O-line knows exactly what's coming. Play action pass. Guy down the middle of the field. Touchdown. New Mexico, boy, they hung in there against Michigan. 27-17 going into the 4th quarter. And then, Jeff, back-to-back interceptions.
That's what kills you.
Can't do it.
That's what kills you in these games. And Jack Lane played pretty well, like you said, and then just at the end had those. Only had 51 rushing yards. Michigan is one of the teams that physically up front, they're just going to be so big and so strong. So I expect that rushing number to be a lot higher in weeks to come because they have a slew of running backs in that room that can tote the rock. But great experience for them going into that environment. I think they're going to draw a lot of experience from that game.
Yeah, 100%. Talk about a bounce back game. Fresno State. It was a bludgeoning in the Valley, Jeff. An absolute bludgeoning. Just dominated. Gaping holes in the run game. I mean, every time they hand the ball off, I mean, they're getting 6 yards down the field before they get touched at the second level. Georgia Southern looked gassed. Second half especially, they couldn't stop anything. I got to tell you, man, I got up here and talked about that experience on the Georgia Southern O-line. They got all these big guys on the defensive line. It was pretty embarrassing. Pretty embarrassing for Georgia Southern, and it ain't going to get easier for them. That's the scary part. So they better figure it out in Statesboro.
Staying on the West Coast because they got USC up next. But, shout out to Fresno State. They could have easily, because it was close early on.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is a pretty tight game. And then sure enough, Bryson Donaldson just kept running it. 167 yards and a touchdown. Rayshawn Luke, 3 touchdowns, almost had 100 yards. So 350 yards total on the ground for Fresno State. Makes your whole life easier if you're EJ Warner doing that. He did have 2 interceptions, though. Like, he's got to clean these things up because on the days you don't have your running backs doing that, it's going to cost you.
Well, and you see it. You saw it last week, right? You throw those interceptions against a really good team like Kansas, and you get beat bad. You do it against Georgia Southern, your run game bailed you out, and Georgia Southern offensively was pretty poor, so they weren't able to do a whole lot. Hawaii at Arizona, Arizona's a pretty good club. That Fafita kid's a pretty good player, man. But we'll see. And Alejado played.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I didn't get to watch a ton of it. But he didn't look like he was really favoring anything. I don't know if you got to see any of it.
No, I got to see a little bit. I mean, Luke Weaver also got some spin in this game too. There's just no way, the way he was playing a week ago, to come back and just be completely 100% healthy. So I think he'll be fine moving forward. Arizona is a good team, and Fafita is a dynamic quarterback. Let's get rested up, get healed up. Hawaii's they're gonna be a team in the Mountain West that's gonna contend. I really believe that.
Yeah, I'll tell you who is also going to contend. That's Colorado State. This game was 21-21. They were going shot for shot with Washington late into the third. They just could not stop the run. Washington pulls away. And then, Jeff, I'm going to say, it was 31-21, okay, with like 7 or 8 minutes left in the fourth. You got a chance to kick to make it a one-possession game, and you do some weird formation fake thing, and it just is a complete bust. And then the game's over. I just like I'm all for a good trick play, right? A good hook and ladder here and there, a good Statue of Liberty here and there. But like these weird fake, you line up wide, you come in, you run. I mean, just especially when like the field goal's the play.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the kick is the move. It's not like early in the game when it doesn't, you're just trying to get a spark. It's like you kick a field goal, you make this a one possession game. You get one stop. Your offense has played well enough to go tie this thing, and then you do that. But they just couldn't stop the run is the real reason they lost that game.
Yeah, defense has got to get cleaned up. But I don't think we talked about Colorado State enough in the offseason with some of the pieces that they have. I liked what I saw. Truthfully, I did. They definitely need to clean some things up, but I think they'll get it done.
Yeah, you go to the Sun Belt. Mississippi State goes down to Hattiesburg. They win 34-17. This game went about how most of these games go. Southern Miss was very much in the game. Second half, Mississippi State, you could tell, just started to wear on them. Southern Miss, outside of Braxton, they couldn't really do much. I mean, they couldn't run the ball. Braxton got some yardage with his feet, but they couldn't do anything offensively outside of him, which is going to be the recipe even in the Sun Belt. But he's so dynamic that he'll be able to make plays and win some games.
He looked good. I mean, especially in that first half. That's most of what I watched. Like he was making plays, throws too, not just running around. But ultimately, they just got wore out up front. And Huff talked about that after the game. He was like,
"He's just not built for this."
Yeah, he goes, "Yeah, if my offensive defensive line were both worth $15 million, like I'd get my ROI too." So interesting kind of comments. He's always got a line post or pregame.
Yeah, he's kind of a smart ass, isn't he?
I think so.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that may be why it didn't go well in March. Like I could just picture him talking to the AD like that. You know what I mean? Like the AD, like why didn't we win this game? Let's go. Well,
there you go.
If you gave me more in the budget, but yeah, they'll be fine. They'll be a contender, I think, in the Sun Belt. They looked pretty good for a lot of it. Old Dominion, Jeff, they're no pushover. We told them that, so it has to be true. They played some damn good defense, Jeff, especially early in that game. Multiple trips inside the 10, first and goal. And they held Indiana without any points. Stopped them 4 plays in a row. So their defense, they held on for dear life. And Colton Joseph's feet were special. But you can't throw 3 interceptions. You just can't do it.
You can't. And this is a symptom of just trying to do probably a little bit too much, trying to make plays and forcing it there. But the kid is dynamic. He's going to give you a chance, and that was the point that we were making. And you just never know. If you don't turn it over, this is probably actually a 1-score game instead of a 2-score game.
And you saw him with his feet. I mean, he had 2 big runs.
It's electric.
He's special. But, hey, Indiana, a lot of people think that's a playoff team again. So, you play them pretty close. Marshall at Georgia. I mean, again, Georgia's one of the ones, as they say. Just tough. I mean, they didn't stand much of a shot there, especially with their rebuilt roster. And then Coastal didn't look good, Jeff. They didn't do anything offensively. They turned it over 3 times. And, Virginia's not special to me, but Coastal looked bad.
Yeah, not a great start to the season for the Chanticleers. You definitely want to just compete a little bit better against, I don't, want to say it's necessarily like a rival of any kind, but this is a team I feel like they were good enough on paper to be within 1 or 2 scores, and it just didn't happen. We'll see if they can improve next week and kind of get right the ship. But Tim Beck is year 3, I believe, for Tim Beck. Is that correct?
I believe so. I tell you, every time we talk about Coach Beck, I bring up this point. It all started going downhill when they deleted the picture of him with the dance team.
That's exactly
right. You never apologize, Jeff. You never do. You never apologize and retract because it just gets worse for you. And that's what has happened in Conway. Jeff, you talked about James Madison at the top of the show. I mean, 313 rushing yards, 44 attempts. On defense, they hold Weber State to 148 total offensive yards. Alonzo Barnett looks sharp. Solid performance.
I get it. It's Weber State. Like, I understand it, but here's the deal. This is what you're supposed to do. If you're a top team in your conference, that's the type of game you put up on a team like that. You don't let them hang around. I mean, you 28-7 at the half. James Madison, I like what I'm seeing by him. Good morning, sweetheart, by the way. She's in the chat. Shout out, Scarlett.
Wow. All right. Back to football, Jeff. Hey, SEMO, Southeast Missouri, Arkansas State. Jalen Rayner threw for 345 and 3 touchdowns. Look, we talk about these games being tune-up games, so you know there's going to be some sloppiness, a little bit of tightness going into these games. But you want to see what James Madison did. Arkansas State, defensively, probably want to be a little better than that. But 345 and 3 touchdowns for Rayner. That offense was rolling.
That's why I had him, as a dark horse in the Sun Belt, because he gives you a chance both with his arm and his legs. So just like the point I made about James Madison, I'm going to say it about Arkansas State. Offensively, at least, because that's where I felt like they were the most sound. That's the type of game you want, 42 points. Got to clean up the defensive side.
Yeah, 100%. And then South Alabama, same deal, right? Morgan State goes down there to Mobile. Hey, Kentrell Bullock, though, 23 carries, 127, 2 touchdowns. And then the quarterback, Jeff, pretty efficient. 12 of 14, 166, and 2 touchdowns for Bishop Davenport. South Alabama, they've been this way for years. They should be really good. They just got to put it all together every week has been their issue.
I would love to see the stat on how many running backs had 20-plus carries and their team won the game this past weekend.
Don't even matter the yardage, I don't think, Jeff.
I don't think so. It helps you control time of possessions, limits a lot of mistakes. And when you have a back that can do this, like Bullock, that's all you need Davenport to be. Be efficient. Don't turn it over and be efficient. You can call it a game manager, whatever you want. I call it really good quarterback play, but you're going to win more games than you're going to lose them.
Well, and here's another one. Tay Meadows had 23 carries for Troy. Now, this game was way too close for way too long. Troy was down going into the fourth quarter. But then they sort of flex their muscle a little bit, and they get the win 38-20. But you got a little hairy for the Trojans, Jeff.
It did. Zach Branner texted me. He was like, that was way too close. But I do think Nichols is going to win their conference. But, yeah, Goose Crowder, again, didn't turn it over, had the 3 touchdowns. Troy's going to be a lot better this year. They're going to improve. Yeah. They got some pieces. Love to see the 23 carries and 186. Need to carry that into the next few games. Don't deviate from the plan.
You don't deviate, Jeff, last game on the docket for us to talk about was a rough one, and that is Georgia State going to Oxford and Ole Miss. They lost 63-7. 4 of 11, 52 yards. Ain't gonna cut it against anybody, especially not Ole Miss.
It's not. But what I'll say is you ran the ball for 190 yards.
Yeah.
Rashad Amos, 9 carries, 69 yards. Not a stellar performance, but I think there's things you can take away from this game that you can build on and improve. And once you get into conference, potentially hit the ground running. They just have a brutal schedule top to bottom. That's what worries me about them.
All right, Jeff, do we want to release our official top 25 power poll that was about impossible to do?
So
because
difficult.
As you're going through this, you get past the top 5 or 6 and you're like, yeah, I mean, they won, but they look terrible on offense. Or, yeah, I mean, they looked okay, but they lost. So how do we, I'm not in the business of moving teams up after a loss, but you would put that thing on the screen here, Jeff, and we'll talk through it just real quick. I mean, we already talked about all the teams, and we could just take a look at it. I'll tell you where I think we might
go for
be
it.
Too high or too low. Well, I don't see anything yet.
Well, you have the graphic and the numbers.
So I don't see anything on the screen, Jeff. I could tell you who the top 5 are. What's that?
Start off with number 1.
South Florida. Is that who we had at number 1?
Yep.
Listen, just a dominant performance. But I talked about it, earlier in the show. They better be ready to roll because the next 2 that they have are going to be really tough. And that's the one area that they did struggle. The more I think about that game, it's funny how that goes. The more I watch highlights or watch the tape a little bit and think about that game, like the more okay I am with Boise, right? Because their D-line still looked really good. They just ran into Byron Brown, who's very special. And they had games like that offensively last year, even with Genty, that were just slow, look like they're stuck in the mud. But I think South Florida, Byron Brown is going to have to be very special the next 2 weeks. But again, they're playing with house money, Jeff. We talked about it in the preseason. If they win any of their first 3 games, they're in a great spot because now they just got to get through the conference. Tulane at number 2. Look, Retzlaff makes them really good and they got a real chance. They get 3 Power 4 opponents in their first 4 weeks, and then they get South Alabama, who's a really good Sun Belt team. So they got a chance. Again, if they come out of there 2-2 or better, they're in a great chance, and they're 1 down. So you go beat South this weekend, and then you beat Duke. You got a really good shot. Navy. This is a lot of preseason hype. I know they played VMI. I don't know what you can do there. James Madison, we got at 4. Memphis, we got at 5. Those have sort of been top 5. I mean, South Florida pretty much just replaces Boise State is in the top 5. That's kind of all we had there. Western Kentucky has looked the best on offense. They have been from the jump on point, efficient on offense. That's why we've got them right behind that first 5 group there. And then App State, same thing. They looked pretty sharp offensively. Texas State, same thing. Got UConn in there this time, Jeff. And I'm going to be honest with you. I almost forgot again. I did it, and then I was like, you know what? And it's because I'm looking at the rest of this top 25, and we had some teams in there, and we had to bump down to 20. I'm like, get them out of there. They don't deserve to be in this top 25. But give me UConn. They got a big win.
Yeah, 59-13 against Central Connecticut. Joe Fagnano, 260 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, and then 293 on the ground. UConn's for real. They deserve it.
And we moved Boise just to get through this thing. We moved Boise all the way down to 23 just because of that abysmal offensive performance. But they'll keep climbing. They will keep climbing into the top. And then, look, they're probably going to win the Mountain West. It's just what they do. Even when they're bad, they end up being 9-7 or whatever, 9-5, win the Mountain West, win a bowl game. And then UNLV, it's funny, Jeff, I talked about it. We got called the R word when we had them at 11 and they almost lost to Idaho State. Well, now they're 2-0 and their offense is rolling. So I think we had them in the right spot.
Yeah, say what you want. Won both their games.
And we got in the middle of there, we kind of have all the teams that played well but lost to, an SEC or a Big Ten opponent. Probably could have had Temple a little bit higher just because that was a dominant performance for them. And I'll tell you this too, Jeff, outside of Navy, probably took any preseason bias out of it as we were going through this. This was just, okay, we've seen one game. Here's how they looked. This is where we're going to put them. So, Louisiana out. Can't remember who else we had in there that's not in there anymore. That might be it.
Yeah, ECU gets in on all the ECU faithful was, upset we didn't have them in there. I thought they played well. We talked about them on the Wednesday show, but Mark G in the chat, of course, the stats man, 9 group of 5 players had 20+ rushes, and the teams went 7-2.
How about that? And I know he's probably got it. Who were the 2 that lost, and who'd they lose to? That's what I would really love to see. But anyway, we'll get to that. Jeff, I don't know if you want to do voicemails.
We got to get some done. We got close to 20 voicemails. We're going to have to figure out. I love it. Keep them coming. We'll figure out some sort of system. We're probably going to do half today and then half on Wednesday.
And here's the deal. As the season goes, the voicemails will be split up, right? Because you'll be calling Tuesday after the Tuesday night games. We'll play it Wednesday. You'll be calling Wednesday after. So we'll be able to split them up a little bit like that. Fridays will probably be, well, I don't know. We're going to have a lot because we're going to have pregame calls plus postgame calls. But anyway, the number is 615-900-4286. 615-900-4286. I hope we got some new callers. I mean, we should, as many as we got. Hopefully we got a new caller or two.
Yeah, we got some new callers, and I'm gonna go through this list kind of just in no particular order. But we'll do about 8 today, and then we'll get the other 8 or 9 on Wednesday. Appreciate you guys calling in. Look, this is good problems to have. We'll get too many voicemails.
No doubt.
We'll figure out some type of a system to get these things done. But let's hop right into it.
Army and Ball State. Army, I should have guessed that one.
Yeah.
And that's the quarterback with those carries.
Bit of an outlier
State,
too, just based off their offense.
Correct. And then Ball State, they tried. Just couldn't do it.
All right, let's get to it.
Group of 5 guys. Brett from Fort Collins, your resident Colorado State fan. Man, not getting much love. That's okay. We kind of like flying under the radar. I think after watching the top 3 Mountain West teams, UNLV, Fresno, and Boise, I'm not very scared right now. That could change quickly, but I still think CSU can be a top Mountain West team this year. Watch out for us. We've got some talent. I know we flipped our defense this year, but I think the offense will be clicking. I think they're going to run more of an air raid than in the past. But we still have some really good running backs with Justin Marshall, and Jalen Dupree and Lloyd Avant this year. I mean, you got, I think, BFN, after watching Madsen yesterday, I think BFN may be the top QB in the conference. Don't sleep on us this year. So we'll see how it goes at Washington. Tough draw. I think they're going to be actually a decent Big Ten team this year. But we'll see if we can hang a little bit. Come out of non-conference, if we can win a couple games. Got a tough slate. But the conference isn't definitely looking as formidable as it did beginning of the year. So I think it's great. We'll see what happens. Go Rams. God bless Group of 5. God bless Group of 5 guys. And F the Pokes.
They always got to throw the shot in there, right?
Yeah, got to. Yeah, hey, I think he's spot on. I know Fresno looked a lot better the other night, but Colorado State, I think they're in the mix. Absolutely in the mix in the Mountain West.
All right, let's stay out west.
Group of 5 guys. This is Boise Bronco 94. Well, boys, I wonder if there's like some NIL charity deal where the Boise high school football team went to USF. I'm not sure, but that really looked like that's what happened. But, just kidding. Man, gotta tip your hat to USF. They were prepared, they were ready to go, and Boise State was not at all. So if you just want to take Boise State and just drop them down preseason rankings, honestly, if you take them all the way out, I wouldn't even blame you. I'd probably do the same thing. But, good game, USF. Boise, I hope you figure your stuff out for Eastern Washington. And USF, you give Florida hell for me, all right? All right. God bless Group 5, guys. God bless Group 5.
I bet you a lot of money Boise runs the ball 40 times against Eastern Washington.
No
and
doubt.
then the key is, they'll be able to, probably. Eastern Washington, though, no slouch.
No, they're not. They're going to play.
And you got to do it. Then you got to do it. And they there's blood in the water now, right? It's the same thing. I'm seeing a lot of people compare Boise State. They're the Group of 5 Alabama, right? Same exact thing. Because now everybody sees Alabama. There's blood in the water. Now everybody's going to try to. Everybody thinks that now we can get them. Now's our shot. That's what they're going to think about Boise State too. So if you're Boise, you remember that stable of running backs that everybody's been talking about? You remember that offensive line that everybody's been talking about? The defensive line? Use it and win with it. Anyway.
Let's keep going.
Hey, group of five guys. This is Nate in Atlanta. First-time caller, long-time listener, big fan of your show. Thanks for everything you do. I'm a big Navy fan and Kennesaw State fan. Today I wanted to talk about Kennesaw State. I was still trying to figure out what's going on with that game. I was disappointed. We should have won. That extra point miss and field goal just gut-wrenching. But overall, very happy with the defense. They look solid, very tough, very dialed in. I'm interested to see, if we just played above our pay grade Friday, or if Wake Forest is just atrocious this year. Waiting to find out. But on the whole, I'm hoping we can continue to build our brand, build our fan base, and get some more success in Conference USA. We'll see. But overall, excited for the year. Thanks for what you guys do. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Nate. Good to hear from Kennesaw State and Navy fan too.
Kennesaw State and Navy, what a combo. But Kennesaw State, yeah, we talked about it. I mean, they got some playmakers, man. They got some playmakers. And look, they've built, right? Last year, you have kind of a tough season, but you beat Liberty, you beat some teams. Now you go down there to Wake Forest, or go up to Wake Forest and play them real tight. We shall see.
Yes, we will. Let's go with another new caller.
Group of five guys. What up, Cinco Bros? Long-time listener, but first-time caller here. This is CMU Justin, representing Central Michigan and Maction. I've been waiting for the right time to call you guys to make my first call. And what a perfect time after a 1-0 start to the Matt Drinkle era. Hopefully you guys had a chance to catch some of the game. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe at this point in the show you've already shared those, but I'll share my brief takeaways, starting with the defense. It was huge to get 3 turnovers early in that game, something this team was ranked bottom 5 or 10 at in the FBS last season. I thought the offensive line and the running backs were excellent. Nari Biggins and Trey Cornice were both extremely physical, bouncing off tackles. I guess my only concern is that I think the rushing attack would have been even better had the offense have been not so one-dimensional. It seems like there was some reluctancy to pass the ball, even on third down, which I think made things get a little predictable, but still very effective. So I know you guys probably saw that there was only 13 passing attempts by CMU. I think only 3 of those came in the first half, which is crazy. So a little surprising when you bring back a guy like Labus, who was pretty reliable at passing last year for the Chippewas. One last thing for Sprouse really quickly is your Marlins got this newcomer making some waves. Maybe you've heard of him, Jacob Marcy. You better check the college on that guy. That boy is a group of 5 guy and a Chippewa. So just wanted to throw that up there. Anyway, I'll happily take the upset win. Be interesting to see the offensive game plan going into Pitt and into Michigan. Thanks for the coverage. Really think you guys are building something really special here with your media platform, so don't stop. God bless the group of 5 guys.
Appreciate you, Justin. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, well, I'll go ahead and congratulate Marcy on his New York Yankee contract that he's going to get here. The Marlins are so frustrating. They got a lot of guys like that. They're good. They're kind of good. They got red hot for a minute there, and then I don't know what they are. They're going to end up 6 games out, I think, of the wild card, and then everybody's going to be gone. I mean, they got a Cy Young pitcher.
Yeah.
I mean, they got a Cy Young pitcher. They got all these young guys that came out of nowhere. They're playing really well. They got some fans actually come in, and they'll dump them. They'll all play for New York, Boston, the Dodgers. Never fails. You can look around the league, dude. You look around the league over the last 30 years, and anybody that's a star probably came up in the A's or the Marlins.
I was going to say
minor league system.
That we are the feeder. Yeah. The A's are the feeder system for every top team that has money and wants to just buy it.
So frustrating. Miguel Cabrera was hitting walk-off home runs for the Marlins in the World Series at 19 years old. And we're paying him. I don't know what we're paying the guy, whatever a minor league contract is. And then, 2 good years gone. All those guys, man. Anyway.
Hey, to say something to his point, the fact that like I think Drinkle knows he can throw the ball, but especially like early in the season, that's something that kind of just comes with repetition and time. I think he was just like, you know what, we're gonna pound these guys until they stop it, and they really didn't. They really didn't stop it. So he was like, hey, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right? So get the win, set the tone, your identity is there. Excited to continue to watch this team moving forward.
Yep.
What's up, group of 5 guys? This is Dan Rocket Man Savage. Sunday morning, I'm currently eating a leftover Cane's chicken sandwich out of a Donato's pizza box. Cool. I'm going to start with, I think the MAC power rankings got to be Ohio, Buffalo, Central Michigan, and Toledo still. CMU, that's kind of surprising. Hell of a win out there at San Jose State. I thought they were going to maybe win the Mountain West. Still can, but you can't turn the ball over on your first possession of the game and give the team from the SEC extra possessions. Outside of that, we played them straight up, dropped a lot of balls. Imperfect play is not going to win it down in SEC country. But we got a big one next week, Western Kentucky and Toledo, man. That might be one of the best group of 5 matchups we got all year. So hopefully you guys cover that one thoroughly. Go Rockets.
Appreciate you, Dan. No question. We're going to dive into that one deep.
Yeah, you got that Toledo defense, that Western Kentucky offense. Jeff, we didn't put Central Michigan in our top 25. Should we have, you think? They beat a team that we had in a Mountain West championship contender, Jeff.
Probably. Might have goofed that one.
Be all right. We'll be fine.
Look,
there's
truly these rankings should not be out until week 3 or 4.
Yeah.
I mean,
100%.
You just don't have a large enough sample size even yet with one game.
Yeah, well, you got teams like Fresno and UNLV that week 0 look horrendous, and then week 1 look pretty good. Mm-hmm. And then, anyway, but probably should have put them in there.
Yeah, probably should have. Honorable mention, Central Michigan. There you go.
There you go.
Let's keep this thing rolling.
Group of 5 gentlemen. Chuck T here. Happy Sunday morning. Football is back. Hope y'all had a great summer. James Madison University handled their business. Looked good. It was an FCS team, but I think they did the things they needed to do. 2 quarterback system. Very interesting. AB3, Saluka both ran for a score and threw for a score. Who knows how this is going to play out for the rest of the year. 2-back systems seem to not work in the long run, but we'll see. But anyway, team looked good. Overall solid performance. They reverted back to some of the things that frustrated me last year regarding not drive stalling out, some dumb penalties, but it's week 1. Anyway, just trying to be realistic. Game 1's behind. Now it's on to Louisville, which is maybe why Chesney wanted to put out 2 different types of quarterbacks, maybe give Louisville something else to prepare for. But anyway, just really good to have football back, and my Dukes look good. Interesting Sun Belt scores, though. Georgia Southern, Louisiana. Didn't see that coming. Texas State looked strong. Monarchs look good at times. But, yeah, it's going to be an interesting season. But anyway, hope you all are well. Just excited football's back and look forward to chatting with you this season. Go Dukes. Go group of 5 guys. Y'all have a good one. Bye.
Appreciate it, Chuck. See that bridge, nice bridge built to the James Madison Dukes.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they just gave Saluka some run just to get him some early snaps in the season in case something does happen to Barnett. But it could be a little bit of gamesmanship there, getting ready for Louisville, trying to make them extra prepare and potentially waste some time and reps. It's definitely part of the process.
The Walsh Group, Jeff, that's the largest bridge builder in the United States of America. I'd be sponsored by a bridge building company.
No question.
That'd be cool. Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, I think Barnett's got to be the guy, right? Like,
he's got the most experience
going forward. I mean, Saluka, he did throw a pick, didn't he?
I don't know.
I have that off. Anyway.
All right. Let's get a couple more in here.
Well, hey, group of 5 guys. Long time no speak. It's Brad from the Hall of Fame Blue Crew. Man, what a great tailgate yesterday. Cooked a brisket overnight. Got to rest it in the cooler. It was delicious. Little smokies on the grill. Nice little crowd at the tailgate. People we haven't seen in years and years. Weather was picture perfect. Then we went into the stadium, and I was reminded, oh, yeah, Middle Tennessee is never going to be good as long as McPhee and Massaro are still in charge. They can blow all the sunshine up my skirt they want. Oh, yes. We had to buy new boxes because our players can jump so high. Oh, what's the average size of the offensive line? Oh, they're so big. Yes, they're so big, but they suck so bad. Vadiato looked like he spent the offseason at Gentleman Gyms, not throwing to his receivers, because he couldn't hit the broadside of a barn yesterday. The team was 3-9 last year, and somehow they looked worse. Worse. I was reminded about something else, that there was a reason that Derek Mason was unemployed, and what a lazy hire it was. Living in Nashville, unemployed, let's hire that guy. Let's not hire somebody who's successful. Let's not go out and find somebody on our own. No. Let's just hire a coach that was at Vanderbilt, that beat Tennessee when Butch Jones was there. You know, those great Tennessee teams. And so here we are, once again, with one of the easiest schedules we've had and one of the worst teams that we've ever had to play on it. No good, I tell you. No good.
Appreciate it, Brad. If I had to say one thing about it, 2012, and I don't know if I'm not saying that this is going to happen, we lose to McNeese State in the opener. We were down 24-6 in the third quarter. We end up making a comeback, almost winning, but we go on to be 8-4 that year. That was my senior year. We get snubbed out of the bowl game and missed the bowl game when we should have got it because they had decided to announce that we were leaving the Sun Belt. So the Sun Belt goes, why in the world will we put a Conference USA team in a bowl game? So we had to sit at home. So it's happened. We've had bad losses. We'll see what happens.
But Jeff, you remember that year though. So we had come off that 2-10 season, which was just like a mess from the jump. They had a lot of upper class guys that were bad locker room guys, like just a bad group. So then we come off, and who do we bring in, right? You bring in Glenn Ellerby and Matt Moore to coach us on the O-line. You bring in Tyrone Nix to coach the defense, and they beat our ass that camp. I mean, that was like, you know, inside for 6 periods a day, right? Like just walk through. It wasn't no thing as a walkthrough. That was a damn full padded practice just using a tennis ball instead of a football. I mean, that was about as physical. And so I bet you if you ask those coaches, like, yeah, we probably didn't come off of them early enough. And they were, and the McNeese game was like, we just been whooping them for a month and they're over there. Now, I do think, I was tweeting with somebody about this. I do think, though, that physicality of that camp, while it maybe contributed to the loss to McNeese, I think it also contributed to how quick we bounced back and how good that team ended up being. Especially, that was when we went away from the Tony Franklin offense and the spread and all that stuff. And we completely transitioned from that to like, we're running inside zone, we're running power, we're running outside zone. And we're going to hit him with that pop scuba play, right? Damn pop scuba, the fake power, over the middle play. And I don't think that was the case for middle this time. First of all, I don't think anybody's practicing.
Point of reference. Yeah.
I don't think anybody can even practice that hard. I don't think they're, maybe not be allowed. I don't think they're practicing enough, not practicing physical enough.
I agree. Well, a lot of guys are worried about camp injuries. So they're not even doing a lot. I mean, I don't know. I don't think you can. I think you lose far more than you gain when you adjust tackling and physicality and all that stuff.
Yeah, tackling, exactly. You're not getting live reps for the offense. Everything's shells, or you're not even, even an inside. It's like, okay, we're gonna do inside, but after 2 seconds, after the back hits the hole, blow the whistle, we're done. Like we're not going any further than that. And I think you see that across the country with some tackling. I mean, you see these guys do tackling is sorry, Jeff. I know we gotta go. The tackling is so bad. Like these guys, like just running in there. We're all worried about lowering the head and getting hurt, but that's what everybody does. They put their head down and turn sideways, and they wince a little bit, and they just throw their body in. And how many running backs look like freaking All-Americans because nobody even thinks about wrapping up? I mean, God forbid you wrap up a guy.
Yeah, just bouncing off tacklers, quite literally. Let's get one more voicemail in here. That'll get us to 8, and then we'll have 8 or 9.
Yeah, well, Wednesday. There's no midweek games this week, so we won't be previewing anything. Wednesday, we got a pretty good topic we'll get to, and then we'll play the rest of the voicemails. But let's get this one, and then we'll close them out.
Hello, Group of 5 guys. My name is Bryant. First, long-time listener, first-time caller. I just got back to my father-in-law's house in Charlotte after that beautiful App State win. Life is good right now. It's so good to see some defense and to see that offense click, offensive line play better. It's just so nice, and life is as it should be. Charlotte's getting beat again by us. Fourth time we're undefeated. We haven't beaten us yet. I mean, what else to say about it? But life is good right now. If you're an App State fan, all is right in the world. AJ Swan is the man. Jaden Barnes, y'all are right. Jaden Barnes is a great player. He needs to work on some of his punt returns, but other than that, he's a great player. Looking forward to the season, and Dubion, man, Dubion, he's hitting some people pretty hard. Love the show, love you guys, and love to listen, and looking forward to a great season, hopefully. We'll call again next week. All right, we'll see y'all. Bye.
Thanks, Bryant. By the way, can I just say some of our assessments when it comes to FCS transfers have been right on the money. Jaden Barnes, Matthew Henry, Danny Scuduro, even though San Jose State lost, kid balled out.
Yep. Jeff, we're down on ourselves because of Middle and Boise and Georgia Southern. Other than that, you know what I mean? We've been pretty accurate. Central Michigan, we were Louisiana, we were wrong. I mean,
well, I don't want to say we were wrong.
It's not yet. They just look bad.
They didn't look.
They just look bad. I tell you though, speaking of App State and AJ Swan, you know who else looked pretty good?
Who you got?
Joey Aguilar.
You know what? I'm happy for him.
And you know who looked awful? Nico Lamaliava.
All my
shocking development.
All my Tennessee buddies, when that whole thing happened and they got Joey, I said, I'm telling you right now, you guys just upgraded at the quarterback. Doesn't mean I think Tennessee's going to win the SEC. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying at that position, you just got a major upgrade because Joey's can throw it. He's got tons and tons of experience, which you cannot replace. So yeah, I was happy. It's the first time I think I've ever been happy for a Tennessee player.
Well, and now that's enough.
That's it.
That's it. All right. Appreciate the call. Hey, appreciate everybody watching and listening. We went a little long today. A lot of games we had to talk about. Plus, it's Labor Day. You know what I mean? It's a holiday.
Extra time.
What's that?
So we knew we had some extra time to work with.
We're going to go get breakfast with the kids, the family. Enjoy your Labor Day. Try to recover from a long weekend of football Wednesday. So we're going to finish off these voicemails. We got a topic. We're going to talk about programs and their budgets and how they're going to try to fund this rev share business and cutting from other things and what they're going to do. We're probably going to have a guest on. Haven't confirmed all of that just yet. Week 1 in the books. Hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you hit the follow button on all the social platforms at Group of 5 Guys. Go to YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the Believe Network, wherever you get your best podcast. subscribe to the channel, leave a 5-star rating and a review. Tell your family and friends all about us. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. God bless the Group of Five. God bless the Group of Five guys. We're out of here.